Okay, so ଏବେ ଆମେ discussion କରିବା କ'ଣ ନା what is winding up of a company. So in normal from the perspective of a normal person, winding up ର ମାନେ କ'ଣ ନା ଯେମିତି କମ୍ପାନୀର incorporation ଗୋଟେ law through ରେ ହଉଛି. As soon as you are issued a registration certificate, you are incorporated or the company is incorporated. So winding up is a process through which the company dies. Amara natural person मरिबार वे होचे either they die naturally or through accident or through suicide कि कौन है जो भी वेरे तंगो फांसी दिया है कि कौन तो सही वेरे मरती तो कंपेयर करी परिबा जे वाइंडिंग अप इज अ फॉर्म ऑफ फांसी दबा गोटे कंपनी को फांसी कहीं दिया जाए गोटे कंपनी वाइंड अप हुए फॉर सेवरल रीजंस through one of the reasons is company was unable to pay its debt सेटा होची तमे जदी कंपनी तमठु किछि डेट नहीं छी बा गोटे तम संगे से बिजनेस डील करची एंड द कंपनी इज अनेबल टू पे यू तमे सेटा इंसल्ट थ्रू रे कंपनी वाइंड अप करिया को अप्लाई कर परियो दैट इज व्हाट वाइंडिंग अप ऑफ कंपनी इज अबाउट तो सेटा कंपनी से भूल करची बे कराउची बट देयर आर certain instances or sometimes the company is wounded up voluntarily आपे आपे जो कंपनी सब मेंबर थांदी डायरेक्टर थांदी मन तांको इच्छा करंदी सो लिल अबाउट दैट तमरा वाइंडिंग अप अच्छी टाइप्स ग्राउंड्स प्रोसीजर डिसोल्यूशन ऑफ ए कंपनी powers of liquidator powers of court liability of past members payments of liabilities preferential payment unclaimed dividend winding up unregistered company voluntary winding up by members and creditors winding up subject to supervision of court okay এই জিনিসটা তো winding up আছে তো প্রথমে কোন না imagine you bought a firm from XYZ company for some months it functioned properly but then there were some technical issues you decided to file a complaint but when you tried reaching out to the shopkeeper you got to know that the company had closed so एमती केमती हला how there is it possible for a company to be closed suddenly the company can cease to exist but एटा करना wound up हेले or dissolved हेले से जिनसटा winding up process through रे जाएगी dissolution तमे सुनथवा winding up maybe words दुटा सुनिथिबे so winding up is the process through which a company is dissolved तो जेतला कंपनी टा फाइनली ता एक्जिस्टेंस ताकू end करा होची in law that is called dissolution but the process through which the dissolution is reached is called winding up ହେଲା କହୁଛି winding up is a process whereby the assets of a company are realized creditors are paid and its surplus is distributed among the members of the company in order to finally dissolve it the assets of a company are realized माने कंपनी जहाँ भी assets अच्छी physical हो non physical हो सेराও বিক্রি করা যায় creditors are paid बर्तमान creditors are paid माने कंपनी जहाँ डेट आनी आम पढ़ी के आसिले जे डेटा सबुठू हाईएस्ट रैंक करे व्हेन इट कम्स टू रिपेमेंट कंपनी रा शेयर रहला डेट रहला अलग अलग इंस्ट्रूमेंट रहला सो ये टाइम्स कम व्हेन इट कम्स व्हेन द टाइम कम्स टू रिपे द पर्सन्स डेटर्स कम फास्ट तो प्रथमे डेटर्स को दिया जाए बा क्रेडिटर्स हु हैव credited the company or who have given loan to the company, they are paid first. After that, surplus is distributed among the members of the company. Who are the members of the company? Shareholders. ତା ଭିତରେ ପୁଣି ପ୍ରିଫରେନ୍ସିଆଲ ସେୟାର ହୋଲ୍ଡର ଅଛନ୍ତି ନର୍ମାଲ ସେୟାର ହୋଲ୍ଡର ଅଛନ୍ତି ପ୍ରିଫରେନ୍ସିଆଲ ସେୟାର ହୋଲ୍ଡର ପୁଣି ଆଗେ ଦିଆଯିବ ଦେନ୍ ନର୍ମାଲ ସେୟାର ହୋଲ୍ଡରକୁ ଦିଆଯିବ ନର୍ମାଲ ସେୟାର ହୋଲ୍ଡର କେତେ ଦିନ ଯଦି ବଞ୍ଚିଲା ସେଟା ସବୁବେଳେ ଜାଣୁ ଯେ ତ ଯଦି ଜଣେ 10% ସେୟାର ଗୋଟେ କମ୍ପାନୀର ହୋଲ୍ଡ କରୁଛି ଯଦି ଲାଷ୍ଟକୁ 1% ବି ବଞ୍ଚିଲା ସେ ସେତିକି ନେବ and I'm telling a share. Having a share of a company comes with quick rewards as well as that much risk also. तो सही रिश्ता हो चुके हैं पता नहीं ना procedure for winding up a company who does it तो करना the process of ending the life of a company by administering its properties for the benefit of its shareholders and creditors of the company is known as winding up of a company कहले लाइफ एंड हो कंपानी जमी थ्रू ल कंपनी आसूची बंचिया से थ्रू ल ही माने मारी दिया A company is a corporate body which is an association of people for common purpose for carrying on the business and earning profit. कंपनी एसोसिएशन लोक रोचंती तमरा किसी गोटे कॉमन पर्पस रोचे प्रॉफिट पे तो आसছে ना लॉस होची ठीक अछि वी नो दैट इन रनिंग ए बिजनेस लॉस इज एसोसिएटेड बट तमे लॉस पे तो कंपनी केबे करनथिबो ना तमे प्रॉफिट पे ही कंपनी गोटे करथिबो एनीवे तो एक कंपनी बीइंग ए कॉर्पोरेट बॉडी कौन कौन सेपरेट लीगल एंटिटी अच्छी आर्टिफिशियल पर्सन लिमिटेड लायबिलिटी सेपरेट प्रॉपर्टी एंड एसेट्स भी होल्ड करे separate property and assets भी होल्ड करे कॉमन सेल अच्छी परपेचुअल सक्सेशन अच्छी कैन सू बीट सूट पब्लिक कंपनी ट्रांसफर शेयर फ्री ले पारे ଏଗୁରା ସବୁ କମ୍ପାନୀର କ୍ୟାରେକ୍ଟରିଷ୍ଟିକ୍ସ ଆମେ ଫାର୍ଷ୍ଟରୁ ପଢ଼ିଛେ ଏବେ କ'ଣ ନା ଏଭଲ୍ୟୁସନ୍ ଅଫ୍ ପ୍ରୋଭିଜନ୍ ଅଫ୍ ୱାଇଣ୍ଡିଂ ଅଫ୍ ଅଫ୍ କମ୍ପାନୀ ବ୍ରିଟିଶ ଏରିଆ କମ୍ପାନୀ ଲ ୱାଜ୍ ଇଣ୍ଟ୍ରୋଡ୍ୟୁସ୍ଡ ବାଇ ଜଏଣ୍ଟ ଷ୍ଟକ୍ କମ୍ପାନୀ ଆକ୍ଟ 1850 ଏଇ 2013 जो एक्ट କ'ଣ ନା ଇଂଲିଶ କମ୍ପାନିଜ୍ ଆକ୍ଟ 1884 ରେ ବେସ୍ କରିକି ହେଇଛି we all know that the Britishers were pioneer in କ'ଣ bringing certain laws ସେମାନେ statute act ଏଇ ସବୁ ଜିନିଷ types of laws ଯୋଉଟା ଆମେ ସବୁ ଦେଖୁଛେ ଏମିତିଆ ଗୋଟେ କନସେପ୍ଟ କୋଉଠୁ ଆସିଛି ବ୍ରିଟିଶର୍ସ ମାନେ ଗୋଟେ ଆସିଛି ଗୋଟେ ଏମିତି ଗୋଟେ ବହି ରହିବ ସେଇ ବହିରେ ଲ ଲେଖା ହେଇକି ରହିବ ସେ ଲଟା ଲେଜିସ୍ଲେଟର୍ସ ମାନେ ପାସ୍ କରିବେ ଇନ୍ ଲେଜିସ୍ଲେଟିଭ ଆସେମ୍ବଲି ଅଫ୍ ଦ ପାର୍ଲାମେଣ୍ଟ ତାଙ୍କ ନାଁ ହବ ଏଇ କନସେପ୍ଟ ଗୁରା ଏଇ ନେମ୍ ଗୁରା କାହାଠୁ ଆସିଛି ସେ ବ୍ରିଟିଶର୍ସ ମାନଙ୍କଠୁ ହିଁ ଆସିଛି ସୋ ଦେ ୱାର୍ ଦ ପାଇନିୟର୍ସ ମାନେ ମାନେ କ'ଣ ଆଗେ ହିଁ ଏସବୁ ଜିନିଷ କାଢ଼ିଥିଲେ ତ ଏଇ ଯୋଉ ଆମର କମ୍ପାନିଜ୍ ଆକ୍ଟ ଇଂଲିଶ କମ୍ପାନିଜ୍ ଆକ୍ଟ 1884 ବେସ୍ କରି ହେଇଛି This act laid down the procedure for the incorporation of a company for the first time. Also recognized companies as having a separate legal entity. The concept of limited liability was not added. लॉ तो इवॉल्व हवा टाइम देना धीरे धीरे नुआ नुआ कॉन्सेप्ट धीरे धीरे ही ऐड हुए तो ये इनकॉर्पोरेशन कंपनी को गोटे लीगल एंटिटी दिया होची इट इज ए सेपरेट एंटिटी ये कॉन्सेप्ट ता सेमाने ही फर्स्ट स्टार्ट करछन दिस कॉन्सेप्ट वाज इंट्रोड्यूस्ड इन इंडिया इन 1857 in 1858 concept was made applicable for banking companies as well in 1866 the consolidated companies act was enacted to provide provisions for the incorporation regulation winding up of the companies. This act was further amended in 1882 in order to make the act conformity with the English Companies Act 1862. Now, history. बताओ देखिए modes. So, according to section 270 of the act, company can be wound up by either two methods: winding up by tribunal, NCLT or compulsory winding up ଏଟା କହିଲେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଭଲଣ୍ଟାରୀ କହିଲି ଦି ପ୍ରକାର ଅଛି either ତମେ ଆପ୍ଲାଏ କରିବ ଯଦି କମ୍ପାନୀ ପାଇଁ ତମେ ବିଜନେସ୍ କରୁଛ and the company has not paid you for the business that the company has done with you then you apply to the NCLT to wind up the company so that your money can be recovered from the company voluntary winding up ହେଲା ନିଜେ ନିଜେ ଯେତେ company ତାର ଚାହିଁବ so chapter 20 of the companies act deals with the winding up a company part 1 କ'ଣ ରହିଲା provides for winding up by tribunal part 2 କ'ଣ ରହିଲା provisions for voluntary winding up a company however part 2 has been omitted by the insolvency and bankruptcy code 2016 okay the IBC code ଆସିଲା ସେଥିରେ କ'ଣ ହେଲା ନା ଏଇ ଯୋଉ voluntary wind up ଟା replace ହେଇଗଲା କ'ଣ କହୁଛୁ କ'ଣ ହେଲା ସେମିତି ମୁଁ ଜାଣିନି ୟୁପିଆଇରେ ମ୍ୟାକ୍ସିମମ୍ ଲକ୍ଷେ କି 2 ଲକ୍ଷ ହେଇପାରେ ସ୍କାନରର ଲିମିଟେସନ୍ ମୋତେ ଜାଣିନି ନାଇଁ ହବନି RTGS RTGS बैंक आप खोलिकी फंड ट्रांसफर मारियो फंड ट्रांसफर करके अमाउंट लिखियो तापर एनईएफटी आईएमपीएस आरटीजीएस एमती तीनटा आसीबो सेटा आरटीजीएस मारी करबो बैंक रो ऐप खोलिकी करियो बैंक रो ऐप खोलिबो करिबो सेथरे कोन जिंसा होची कोन ना तोर बेनिफिशियरी ऐड करियो पड़िबो जहाँ को टंका ट्रांसफर करार अच्छे ताको ऐड करियो पड़िबो ताको ऐड करी तापर टंका तो पठे परियो तार बैंक अकाउंट आ ये डिटेल्स वो देके ऐड करियो पड़े नहीं मो पे 5 लाख नहीं नहीं चेक साइन करे तेले तो चेक रो ये लिमिटेशन थे वो थोड़ा ग्रो क्लियर हो जाए हाँ एते लेबे नहीं होते हैं बैंक में बच्चे पड़ो तो गोटे आईबीसी कोड आसी इंसॉल्वेंसी बैंक्रप्सी कोड सेटा कहउछंती थ्रू दैट को माने एक्ट वे कोन ना वॉलंटरी वाइंडिंग अप पॉसिबल होची ओके सो वाइंडिंग अप बाय कोर्ट और ट्राइब्यूनल और कंपलसरी वाइंडिंग अप जोटा चैप्टर 20 of the Companies Act 2013 deals with winding up a company by court or tribunal. The company is wound up by the order of a court or tribunal. It is called winding up by the court or tribunal. This mode of winding up is also called compulsory winding up of a company. Provision was going to same I explain below. ये petition file करवे ना according to 272 following persons can present a petition. के 271 ने करना petition for winding up a company can be presented by a company itself. However, before presenting a petition, company must pass a special resolution in this regard. तो कंपनी निजे निजे 272 रे कोर्ट और ट्राइब्यूनल को अप्लाई करिवे वाइंडिंग अप करि पारिबे एटा कोर्ट और ट्राइब्यूनल थ्रू रे होछ माने इट इज अ काइंड ऑफ वॉलंटरी वाइंडिंग अप बट कोर्ट ट्राइब्यूनल थ्रू रे होछ तो से कोन कहउछ ना स्पेशल रेजोल्यूशन पास है के इतवा दरकार case of BOC India Zinc Products and Co. Limited, a petition for winding up was presented by a person not authorized to do so by a board of directors. Hence, the petition was declared incomplete. Any contributor. Contributor के section 226 of the act. Contributor is a person who is liable to contribute towards the assets of a company in case of it is wound up. कंपनी जहाँ से डील करते हो जे भी समथिंग गोटे डील करते हो आई एम ए कंट्रीब्यूटरी टू द कंपनी इन केस ऑफ वाइंडिंग अप आई विल बी डीलिंग फॉर व्हाट एवर रीजन ताको कोन बेनिफिट मिलथो न मिलथो एटा परर कथा बट जीए डील गोटे करथिबो जे एमती इन केस ऑफ वाइंडिंग अप आई विल बी गिविंग से मे बी कंपनी डायरेक्टर हे पारु से कंपनी मेजॉरिटी ऑफ शेयर होल्डर हे पारु जे भी हे पारु बट से इन केस ऑफ वाइंडिंग अप कंपनी से डील करथिबो आम पढ़ले जे कंपनी ता कोन कॉन्ट्रैक्ट थ्रू रे ही चालुची तो जे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट करिथिबो कंपनी संगे से एसओ लेवल हबो सरला कथा however according to Tekel 272 contributor will be allowed to present a petition for winding up in spite of him being the holder of fully paid up shares of the company has no surplus asset left spot distribution among its shareholder after satisfying all liabilities. କହିଲେ ଏଇଟା ସେଟା share capital shareholder ଥିବ. One important requirement is that the shares in the respect of which a person is a contributor were allotted to register under him for at least 6 months during the period of 18 months before the commencement of winding up for such shares devolved by him by the death of former holder. It's a technical requirement. All or any persons mentioned above. The persons of winding up can also be presented by the company and the contributors together or separately. Register can file petition for winding up a company under the following circumstances. Register means ROC, Register of Company. Combine the actions of the company were against the interest of sovereignty and integrity of the country, security of the state, friendly relation, morality. Tribunal is of the opinion that the company was formed with a fraudulent end and unlawful purpose, and its affairs have been conducted in fraudulent manner. Persons who form the company are guilty of fraud or misconduct. There is default in filing financial statement and annual letters of the company of the register. It is just and equitable for the tribunal to wind up like company. ଏଇସବୁ କାରଣ ଯୋଗୁଁ ROC ଯିଏ ଅଛନ୍ତି ସେ ବି ଫାଇଲ୍ କରିକି ୱାଇଣ୍ଡିଂ ଅପ୍ କରିପାରିବେ କ'ଣ ନା however register can be filed for winding up a company to a tribunal if the company has decided it will be wind up by a tribunal by special resolution. The company ନିଜେ ନିଜେ decide କରିଛି special resolution pass କରିକି ଯେ will be filing up for winding up then register ଆଉ present କରିପାରିବେ ନାହିଁ. Register is also required to obtain previous sanction from the central government before filing a petition. Person authorized by central government case section 272 1E provides petition for winding up can be filed by any person who is authorized by central government to do so. तो either register करिए नॉल central government जनू authorize करिए you go and do it. Maybe collector को authorize करते हुए collector you go and wind up this company collector से तो file करिए tribunal ठीक को tribunal national company law tribunal से तो file करिए तब पे winding up आओ. Central state government can also present a petition for winding up a company. Its actions are against the sovereignty, integrity of a country, public order, morality, decency, foreign relations. Ground कौन 271 ने पहला grounds. Special resolution कौन 271A रे petition for winding up a company can be prevented. A special resolution has been passed by the company in this regard. Then which is sovereignty, integrity and other factors. A company can be wound up by a tribunal if it acts against the sovereignty and integrity of India, security of the state, foreign relations, public order, morality, etc. This is given under section 271B. Fraudulent conduct from the company gone. The 271 C filed by register is of the opinion company is found fraudulent and unlawful purpose and its affairs have been conducted in fraudulent manner. Persons who or the persons who form the company are guilty of fraud misconduct. Winding up paper was formed with a fraudulent unlawful purpose. Its affairs have been conducted in a fraudulent manner. That one thing or company that the fraud coaching and there is a director of fraud and say fraud coaching. Default in filing financial statement audit returns. To 71 being there फाइनान्शियल स्टेटमेंट रेजिस्टर करके फाइल कर सब रिक्वायरमेंट आम पढ़ी आसले तो से केस से करूना भी वाइंडिंग अप हो पार जस्ट एंड इक्विटेबल कौन है डेडलॉक सिचुएशन है व्हेन टू और मोर पर्सन्स कैन नॉट एग्री विथ ईच अदर एंड रीच एन एग्रीमेंट द सिचुएशन नोन एज डेडलॉक इन केस ऑफ डेडलॉक बिटवीन मैनेजमेंट ऑफ ए कंपनी it is just and equitable for the tribunal to wind up of the company. Management किस टाइम से agree कर पाना थी. Let's say boldly that we are a software business and some people in the management wants that we expand our business to retail also. But some other people are saying that we don't. तो वाइंडिंग अप करता कंपनी डिजल्व करता अलग अलग मे भी सेवन अलग हिजबे देन सेमेन तक सॉफ्टवेयर बिजनेस करिए सेमेन तक रिटेल करिए जो मैंने कहते आम बहुत को एक्सपांड करिए जो मैंने अलग हेले से खाली सॉफ्टवेयर रहले कि कौन गले loss of substratum এটা মানে কোন when the object of the company fails leads to loss of substratum. In case of Dunlop India Limited, the company was unable to show its long and short-term business plan. The company was not conducting its business for quite some time, and the company was ordered to wind up. তার যা বিজনেস করিয়া কথা ডনলপ নিউম্যাটিক কর্পোরেশন গোটে ଥିଲା তুমি ଜାଣିଥିବ ଡନଲପ ଟାୟାର୍ସ ଆସେ ଡନଲପ ଗଦି ଆସେ ବେସିକାଲି ରବରରେ ବିଜନେସ୍ ତାଙ୍କର ଭଲ ତ ଯଦି ସେଇ ଜିନିଷ ସିଏ କରୁ ନାହାନ୍ତି ତ ତାହେଲେ ୱାଇଣ୍ଡିଂ ହବ ହବ ଲସେସ୍ ହବ ଯଦି ତାହେଲେ ହେଇପାରିବ ଅପରେସନ୍ ଅଫ୍ ଦ ମାଇନରିଟି ମାନେ କମ୍ପାନୀର ମାଇନରିଟି ସେୟାର ହୋଲ୍ଡର ଯିଏ ତାଙ୍କର ଅପରେସନ୍ ହେଉଛି ଫ୍ରଡୁଲେଣ୍ଟ ପର୍ପସ୍ ଯଦି କମ୍ପାନୀ ଆସିଛି ପବ୍ଲିକ୍ ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ଯଦି ହେଇଛି ତାହେଲେ ହେଇପାରିବ କମ୍ପାନୀ ଇଜ୍ ଅ ବବଲ୍ ତା ମାନେ କ'ଣ କମ୍ପାନୀ ଇଜ୍ ଅ ବବଲ୍ ଇଟ୍ ୱାଜ୍ ନେଭର ଇନ୍ ରିଅଲ୍ ବିଜନେସ୍ ଅଲସୋ କ୍ଲାସିଫାଇଡ୍ ଜଷ୍ଟ ଆଣ୍ଡ ଇକ୍ୱିଟେବଲ୍ ଗ୍ରାଉଣ୍ଡ ଏଇଟା ସବୁ ସେଲ୍ କମ୍ପାନୀ ଯେଉଁ କୁହନ୍ତିନି ସେଲ୍ सेल कंपनीज को तैयारी करती इन ऑर्डर टू साइपन ऑफ मनी लॉन्डरिंग पे इन सब करी केते कौन करती नले अलग अलग पर्पस थे जे कंपनी अरे ये रे मैनेजमेंट रे जरा नॉलेज थिबो से जानि छि सेल कंपनीज कौन केंत करी यूज कर पारे से हमको जाना पड़िबो नहीं तो स्टेप्स फॉर कंपलसरी वाइंडिंग ऑफ अ compulsory winding up by tribunal. Excel diagrams, procedure type, okay. The company's winding up rules 2020 got SG provides that the governing compulsory winding up process of a company along required forms and particulars. Corner step 1 day petition for winding up must be presented in form win 1 or form win 2. Petition affidavit they verify kariba. Only if the petition made by company director, secretary, or authorized person, affidavit must be accordant with Win 3. Step 2. The statements of affairs has to be filed within 30 days in accordance with Section 274 of the Companies Act. Must contain information till the date when the statement is filed. Statements must be filed with Win 4. Step 3. Petition will be posted before a tribunal. Date will be fixed for hearing petition. Petition is not made by the company. Notice will be sent to the company. Opportunity be heard must be given before the advertisement. Directions given in respect to petition. Step 4. According to Rule 6, every contributor will be served with a copy of the petition by the person making the petition within 24 hours of making payment in this regard. Step 5. Notice of the petition will be given in advertisement 14 days before fixing a date for hearing in Daily newspaper, which is widely circulated in state. The office of registrar is located. English रे ହେଇଥିବ और vernacular language ହେଇଥିବ rule 8 रे कौन रहला application winding up cannot be withdrawn without permission of the tribunal. Step 6. Objection can be filed in form and affidavit in objection within 30 days. Step 7. Reply to the objection must be filed in form and affidavit within 7 days before text hearing the text fixed for the hearing of the petition. ये जो टाइमलाइन में ना पढ़ुछ एटा सबले फिक्स न थाए ट्राइब्यूनल बेले बेले किछटा केस रे एक्सटेंड करंती बट नो वन थिंग जे जो ट्राइब्यूनल केस रे डेट रे एक्सटेंशन रे एते माने हेई न थाए ते काम जल्दी सारे मैक्सिमम 4 मास रु 6 मास भीतर गोटे कंपनी वाइंडिंग अप हो जाए बट इन केस ऑफ सिविल केस हमें जानछ सिविल कोर्ट रे केस बर्डन अधिक थाए सिविल प्रोसीजर्स रे अधिक थाए सो इट टेक्स टाइम. Step 8 कौन कहला ना provisional liquidator will be appointed after admission of petition by the tribunal on the sufficient ground for his appointment in accordance with Rule 14. Step 9. Order of winding up a tribunal in accordance with Form Win 11 will be sent to the registrar of the company liquidator, the registrar of the company 7 days from the same will be advertised. Step 10. Affairs of the company wind up completely, money it dissolution ହେଇଗଲା. The company liquidator will apply for dissolution of the company within 10 days along with audited final accounts, auditor certificates, tribunal will brought out for dissolution. And winding up माने affairs of the company are coming to end. कौन winding up process कौन है? Creditors को टंगा दिया है, assets का realization करा है, बाकी जरा member अछन तांको सेठी तांको share दिया है. So this is what winding up is. Winding up सरी गला. बर्तमान कौन ना company winding up once winding up is done, dissolution पे apply करो within 10 days. Then official liquidator second appointment. Official liquidator is an officer who is appointed to proceed with the winding up of a company and its affairs. Key appointment official liquidator को tribunal appointment. That's why that person is called official liquidator. Section 275 provides that in order to wind up a company, tribunal will appoint an official liquidator from a panel maintained by the central government, which consists of names of advocates, chartered accountants, company secretaries, cost accountants, etc., having at least 10 years of experience in the matters related to the company. However, if a provisional liquidator is appointed, powers will be restricted by an order of appointment by the tribunal. Provisional liquidator is a person appointed by the court or tribunal carrying the process of winding up of a company. तो provisional liquidator जने थांती तांकर पावर कोन ना ट्राइब्यूनल रेस्ट्रिक्ट करी टिके तांको अपॉइंट करते बट ऑफिशियल लिक्विडेटर जे तांकर टिके अनलिमिटेड पावर था ही कैन डू एनीथिंग एंड एवरीथिंग रिगार्डिंग द कंपनी हाय कहीं ना कंपनी असेट्स रियलाइजेशन करी समस्त टंकाटा तो फेरियार अछि ना दैट्स व्हाई ही इज जनरली मोर फ्री टू डू थिंग्स. Central government has also power to remove the names of any person from the panel on the grounds of misconduct, fraud, breach of duties, professional incompetence, etc. But before doing so, an opportunity must be had given to him. Liquidator also appointed within 7 days of appointment make a declaration regarding conflict of interest, lack of independence with respect to appointment in his terminal. Conflict of interest ମାନେ କ'ଣ? जो कंपनी पे से लिक्विडेटर अपॉइंट ହେଇଛନ୍ତି वाइंडिंग अफ କରିବାକୁ ତାଙ୍କର ସେ କମ୍ପାନୀରେ କିଛି ଇଣ୍ଟରେଷ୍ଟ ଥିବ ତାଙ୍କର ସେ କମ୍ପାନୀର ଯେ ଡାଇରେକ୍ଟର ଥିବେ ସେ ଡାଇରେକ୍ଟର ଚିହ୍ନା ପରିଚୟ ହେଇଥିବେ ସାଙ୍ଗ ହେଇଥିବେ ରିଲେଟିଭ ହେଇଥିବେ ସେ କହୁଛି ଏ ସେମିତି କିଛି ଜିନିଷ ଥିବ ହି ମଷ୍ଟ ଡିସକ୍ଲୋଜ ଇଟ୍ ଦେନ୍ ତାଙ୍କର ଚେଞ୍ଜ ହେଇଯିବ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଚେଞ୍ଜ କରାହେଇଯିବ So according to 276, provisional liquidator, company liquidator appointed by the tribunal can be removed by tribunal on the following grounds. कौन misconduct have a fraud or misfeasance, professional incompetence, inability, conflict of interest. Then also got an advisory committee appointed. Company 287 of the tribunal can direct appointment of an advisory committee in order to advise the company liquidator. तांको advise करे कौन कौन करेगा अच्छे. Committee will consist of a maximum 12 members. Company liquidator will convene a meeting of creditors, contributories within 30 days from date of winding up has been passed by the tribunal in order to determine the member of the committee. Committee किए मेंबर रहिबे तांको ही पचरा है कि करा जो केमिति एडवाइस करे बर्तमान जे लिक्विडेटर अकाउंट होछंदी सेता आसी कि कंपनी करे पासी कि सब जिंस समस्त को प्रॉपर्ली दे दे माने नै ना तांको जाने किछटा इंफॉर्मेशन प्रोवाइड करे तो सही लोक माने तो रखे ना जो माने कंपनी अफेयर्स विषय जानी थिबे ସେମାନେ ହିଁ କମିଟି କନସିଷ୍ଟ ହେବ ସେଇ କମିଟି ହିଁ ତାଙ୍କୁ ଆଡଭାଇସ୍ କରିବ Committee has been empowered to inspect the books of accounts and other documents along with assets and properties of the company under liquidation. Section provides that committee will be chaired by the company liquidator. Provisions relating to convening of meetings, procedure to be followed in the meeting and the conduct of business of the prescribed accordingly. Powers of the liquidator. कौन रहेगा? Will be the convener of meetings of the winding up committee and the assist in liquidation proceedings related to function. Take over the assets. Company assets वैसे take over कर ले बने is kind of the owner now, interim owner. Examination of the statement of affairs, recovery of properties or other assets of the company, review of audit reports, accounts, sale of assets, analyzing the list of creditors and contributors, compromise and settlements of claims, payments of dividends, any other function. जहाँ नहीं तहाँ कंपनी वाइंडिंग में कवरिया को जहाँ जहाँ कहया दरकार फाइनली से सब जिनस से कर परिबे तंग पावे पावर अछि. Company liquidator is also required to submit a report along with the minutes of the meeting of the committee before the tribunal. Report will be submitted on a monthly basis and will be signed by the members present at the meeting that the report for dissolution of the company is submitted under section 277(6). He will also prepare a draft final report for the approval of the winding up of committee. According to section 290, company liquidator will have the power to manage business of the company for the process of winding up, execute deeds, receipts, other documents on behalf of the company, sell immovable, movable property, sell the undertaking of the company, raise money required for the security assets of the company, institute or defend suits for the legal proceedings, whether civil or criminal, on behalf of the company, settle claims, inspect records, draw, accept, make, endorse negotiable instrument, obtain any professional assistance from any person or appoint any professional for the protection of assets of the company, take action, steps, or sign, execute, verify, paper, dates, documents, winding up the company. So overall, you know that he can do anything and everything that a company does through the board of directors. So when the board of directors are appointed to manage the affairs of the company, right? Board of directors managing director ହେଲେ ତାଙ୍କର ବି ଏମିତି କିଛିଟା ପାୱାର ଅଛି ନାଇଁ ତ ସେ liquidator ଯେ official liquidator ଯେ appoint କରନ୍ତି he assumes the role of board of director also the managing director in certain way. Duties कौन ହେଲା? According to section 288, duty of the company liquidator to make periodical reports to the tribunal, make reports at the end of each quarter regarding progress of the winding up of the company. Section 292 deals with the exercise and control of the powers of the company liquidator. Company liquidator required to give regard to the actions given by the creditors, contributors in a resolution at any general meeting or advisory committee. Directors or creditors contributory would override those given by the advisory committee in case of conflict. I mean, advisory committee to anchor power that is अधिकार होची. कंपनी का रेजोल्यूशन पास करिया से कर Then company liquidator कौन करियो ना summon the meetings and creators of contributors summon meetings as and when director requested by the contributors creators in writing not less than 1/10 मैंने 1/10 यदि request करियो ताले summon कर पारे So if a person is aggrieved by the decision of any fact of the company liquidator he can make an application to the tribunal कारण liquidator is the is kind of the officer of the tribunal officer the tribunal is appointing right so if he is doing some mismanagement you apply to the tribunal The 294 account coaching act further provides another duty of the company liquidator to maintain proper and regular books of accounts, receipts, and payments, which will be presented to the tribunal 2 times each year during his tenure. Tribunal can cause the accounts to be audited, and the company liquidator will have to furnish such vouchers and information to the tribunal as required. One copy of the audited accounts will be filed with the tribunal, and the other will be delivered to the registrar. If the account refers to a government company, company liquidator will give a copy to Central government, state government, both government and members of the company. The central government, state government as a part of the company, then company. Here reports for a report. Consequence of winding up conduct, section 278. The order of winding up will operate in favor of all creditors and contributors as if it has been made under joint petition. Section 279 further provides that no suit or any other legal proceeding can be initiated against a company against whom the order of winding up has been passed without any permission from the tribunal against whom the order of winding up has been passed. The order of winding up ଯଦି ପାସ୍ ହେଇଯାଇଛି ଗୋଟେ କମ୍ପାନୀ ଏଗେନ୍ଷ୍ଟ ତା ଏଗେନ୍ଷ୍ଟ ସୁଟ୍ ଫୁଟ୍ ତମେ କରିପାରିବନି କାରଣ କ'ଣ ପାଇଁ ନା ଏଇ ୱାଇଣ୍ଡିଂ ଅଫ୍ ପ୍ରୋସେସରେ ହିଁ ତମକୁ ଯାହା ମିଳିବା କଥା ତମକୁ ମିଳିବ ଆଉ ଏକ୍ସଟ୍ରା ସୁଟ୍ କରିବା ମଲ୍ଟିପ୍ଲିସିଟି ଅଫ୍ ପ୍ରୋସିଡିଂ ହବ ତ ତମେ କେବଳ ट्राइब्यूनल परमिशन ही करेगा विदाउट एनी परमिशन फ्रॉम द ट्राइब्यूनल you can do with the permission of the tribunal voluntary winding up पढ़िए सेटा हमें पढ़ले कोर्ट थ्रू रे हुए पे कंपलसरी वाइंडिंग अप दिस इज वॉलंटरी वाइंडिंग अप এটা কোন না কর্পোরেট ইনসলভেন্সি রেজোলিউশন প্রসেস সিআইআরপি করা which is run by insolvency and bankruptcy court. So when you yourself are declaring yourself to be insolvent or bankrupt, you do it through voluntary winding up and through IBC code. It's a process to resolve the corporate insolvency of a corporate debtor. Corporate debtor माने क्या? जे corporate company को जे debt दे जाती से लोग होचन क्रेडिटर तो जे डेट नोची से डेटर कॉर्पोरेट डेटर ଆମେ ପଢ଼ିଲେ କ୍ରେଡିଟର୍ସ ମାନଙ୍କୁ ଇନସଲଭେନ୍ସି ପ୍ରୋସେସ୍ ବା ୱାଇଣ୍ଡିଂ ଅଫ୍ ପ୍ରୋସେସ୍ ଦିଆଯାଏ ସେମିତି ଏଠି କ'ଣ ନା ସେଠି ଇନସଲଭେନ୍ସିଟା ହେଉଛି କ'ଣ ନା ଫ୍ରମ୍ ଦି ପଏଣ୍ଟ ଅଫ୍ ଭ୍ୟୁ ଅଫ୍ ଦି company or the company who is unable to pay its debt. But winding up hochi usually from the point of view of the person who has credited the company. Okay. Tanka through to usually हुए. So it is CIRP on insolvency of a corporate debtor. It can be initiated by filing an application to the adjudicating authority under Chapter 2 of Part 2 of the Code. So if the process fails, company initiates the process of liquidation. That is a winding up. Process of voluntary winding up under IBC may be started by a corporate debtor, financial creditor or operational creditor. जे भी हो तो इसे फाइल करिए तो it is kind of similar to the process of winding up, but कौन difference ଅଛି हमें देखिए. So when a company decides to wind up its affairs and proceed further with the required postings on its own, the act is called voluntary winding up of a company. Part 2 of Chapter 20 of the Act deals with voluntary winding up of the company. Circumstances कौन रहेगा? Section 304 provides circumstances. Company passes a resolution in general meeting regarding voluntary winding up due to expiry of its division fixed by its articles or due to occurrence of any event for which the articles that provide that company should be dissolved. The company ଯେତେବେଳେ incorporation ହେଇଥିଲା ସେଠି mention ହେଇଥିଲା ଯେ ଆମେ 5 ବର୍ଷ ପାଇଁ ହେଇଛୁ articles of association ସେ ଜିନିଷ ଲେଖା ହେଇଥିବ 5 ବର୍ଷ ପରେ ଗୋଟେ resolution pass ହେବ in annual general meeting then जनरल मीटिंग जो एनुअल जनरल मीटिंग जनरली ହେଇଥିବ ଦେନ୍ ସେଥିରେ ତାପରେ ଭଲଣ୍ଟାରୀ ୱାଇଣ୍ଡିଂ ଅପ୍ ହେବ ଅର୍ लिखाई जे किसी गोटे इवेंट है आम से भलंटारी वार्निंग हो कौन आम सीओ जी अच्छा सी जी रिजाइन करदे आम कंपनी आम भलंटारी वार्निंग अप कर मे बी व्हाट एवर रीजन or the company passes a special resolution regarding voluntary winding up. However, this section and the provision related to voluntary winding up company were implemented in 2006. Now the Insolvency Bankruptcy Code 2016 deals with. What meeting of creditors. It is necessary to inform the creditors of the company, which can be done through the post. Meeting is conducted when they are notified about the amount of money due to each creditor. Board of directors will then put forth the statement of affairs, and if the majority of affairs of the company should be wound up voluntarily, process is initiated. However, the majority of her compulsory winding up of a company or winding up by a tribunal, application must be sent in this regard to the tribunal within 14 days and inform the same to the registrar within 10 days. तमें either तमें voluntarily winding up करो, नॉल जदि तमें through court କରିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଛ that is also a kind of voluntary winding up, but ତମେ through court କରିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଛ through tribunal କରିବାକୁ ଚାହୁଁଛ ତମେ 14 दिन ଭିତରେ tribunal को application ପଠାଇବ ଯେ ଆମକୁ winding up କରିଦିଅ. A company liquidator is appointed to carry on the process of voluntary winding up according to the insolvency bankruptcy code, who finally evaluates the assets of the company, submits the report to the tribunal. Process कौन section 59 of the IBC insolvency bankruptcy code deals with voluntary liquidation of corporate persons. Corporate person means natural person, corporate person or company. Provides that a corporate person who wants to liquidate itself voluntarily and has not committed in default may initiate the liquidation proceedings under the Act. However, the proceedings of registered corporate person must satisfy the following conditions. There must be a declaration from the majority of the directors of the company, which must be verified affidavit and must state full inquiry into the affairs of the company has been made, and opinion has been formed that the company has no debt and will be able to pay its debts in full from selling its assets in voluntary liquidation. Debt अच्छी तमें वाइंडिंग अप करो, डेट नहीं ताले वॉलंटरी वाइंड अप करिवा थ्रू आईबीसी. ओके, कंपनी इज नॉट लिक्विडेटेड इन ऑर्डर टू डिफ्रॉड एनी पर्सन. क्या डिफ्रॉड करेगा तुम लिक्विडेशन करना तो कहीं करियो कारण तुम ऑब्जेक्ट मे भी साटिस्फाई होगा 5 वर्ष पे इनकॉर्पोरेट होता 5 वर्ष होगा जो जिनस तुम इनकॉर्पोरेट होता से जिनस लीगल नुहे. लेट्स से तुम ना होता तुम इनकॉर्पोरेट होता टू डील विथ न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी. ना एबे कौन ना न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी इज द डोमेन ऑफ द गवर्नमेंट. लेट्स से गवर्नमेंट खाली लॉ चेंज कर न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी नुआ नुआ कंपनी तुम आसपार न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी डील कर कंपनी गोटे इनकॉर्पोरेट होगा वर्षे पर गवर्नमेंट मन है नहीं आमर न्यूक्लियर एनर्जी आम ही केवल डील करवा प्राइवेट कंपनी को दबानी. मे बी गवर्नमेंट सेमती करदेला पुणी चेंज करदेला तो फॉर द पर्पज व्हिच यू हैव बीन इनकॉर्पोरेटेड दैट पर्पज इज नो लॉन्गर लीगल. तुम जो किसी डेट फेट नहीं तुम वॉलंटरी वाइंड अप हो सरला. Declaration must be accompanied by the following documents. कौन financial statements, records of the company operations for the preceding 2 years since its incorporation, valuation, reports of assets of the company which is prepared by registered valuer. कंपनी valuation केते गोटे registered valuer गोटे थांती से कंपनी valuation determine करी. तमें जानथिबो एंती एप्पल Oracle टेस्ला एगुरा सब गोटे valuation तक दिया जाए. valuation does not mean कंपनी सेटिक asset होल्ड करछि. valuation means कंपनी ର value मार्केट रे सेतिकी अच्छी. तो Oracle बोधे एबे होछि मोस्ट वैल्यूएबल कंपनी इन द वर्ल्ड ना कौन मझे से एआई फाई ऊपर कौन गोटे अनाउंसमेंट कला जे Oracle होछि मोस्ट वैल्यूएबल होगा. तो तामने कौन ओवरनाइट कंपनी एसेट परसेंट बढ़ीगला सेमती नुहे. वैल्यूएशन टा डिटरमिन करे बहुत गोटे जिनस को नहीं कि वैल्यूएशन टा गोटे रजिस्टर्ड वैल्यूअर डिटरमिन करती. Special resolution regarding voluntary winding up of a company must be passed within 4 weeks of declaration, whereas general resolution must be passed in general meeting regarding voluntary winding up due to expiry of its duration fixed by articles due to occurrence of any event for which the articles provide that the company should be dissolved. Okay. Further, the section provides that the company must notify the registered board or the resolution being passed for liquidation of the company within 7 days from the date of such resolution is approved by creditors. With the approval of creditors, liquidation proceedings of the company will be deemed to have commenced from the date such resolution is passed. When the affairs of a company would have been wound up completely and the assets have been liquidated completely, application is made liquidator to the adjudicating authority for dissolution of such company. कहली आगे वाइंडिंग अप प्रोसेस सरिबो जहाकू जति टंका दबार अछि जति टंका पायर अछि सब जिन सरला परे फाइनली डिसोल्यूशन कंपनी करियाकू गोटे एप्लिकेशन दिया जिवो सेतल जगे डिसोल्यूशन हबो ता माने कंपनी कम टू एन एंड. Authority will pass an order regarding dissolution of the company that it will be resolved according to the copy of said order must be given to the record authority with the company registered in 14 days. टाइम से पूरा देइछे टाइम पूरा मन रखिबो कोठी 10 दिन कोठी 14 दिन कोठी 30 दिन एटा टाइम मन रखिबो पड़ो देन होचे पावर्स एंड ड्यूटीज ऑफ कंपनी लिक्विडेटर करना अकॉर्डिंग टू सेक्शन 35 ऑफ द एबीसी जेंती सेठी लिक्विडेटर अपॉइंट होचनी वाइंडिंग अप पे एठी भी लिक्विडेटर अपॉइंट ले कारण verify the claims of creditors, take into custody all assets, evaluate the assets, take measures to protect, preserve, carry on business for beneficial liquidation. कंपनी बेनिफिशियल लिक्विडेशन माने कंपनी बिजनेस भी क्यारी ऑन चली लिक्विडेशन प्रोसेस बिजनेस भी चली कहीं कंपनी प्रॉफिट आसो ना प्रॉफिट जिते आसो भल से लिक्विडेशन हो पार सेल रिमूवेबल मूल प्रॉपर्टी ऑलमोस्ट सिमिलर टू व्हाट वी रेड इन द प्रीवियस चैप्टर तो यहाँ पढ़ी दो ड्यूटीज कौन है and the company that 2030 prior to 2016 এটা পড়ি তো power to accept share করনা section 399 রয়েছে if a company is to be owned up voluntarily and the whole or parts of its business is to be sold or transferred to any other company the company liquidator of the transfer of the company may with the sanction of special legislation which conferred on him general authority receive shares policies other interest transfer the company by way of compensation enter into any arrangement wherein the members of a transfer company participate in the profits and receive other benefits of the transfer এটা suppose कर पाएंगे बर्तमान आसला what is the liability of unregistered company এটা register ହେଇନି Part 2 of Chapter 21 deals with winding up unregistered company. Section 375 of the Act provides that an unregistered company cannot be owned up voluntarily under the Act under the following circumstances. Company is dissolved by ceases to carry on business or is continuing to carry on the business only for the purpose of winding up. Company is not able to pay its debt. Just an equitable opinion of the tribunal to wind up the company. Section further provides an unregistered company will include any partnership firm, limited liability partnership, society, cooperative society, association, not include. Then that's how for some reason you have formed a company but you have not registered it, so it's not an incorporated body yet. But it is an association person you have associated with other persons for the purpose of doing something. Then it's a kind of company. Incorporation but it is a kind of company. तो ସେଥିରେ କ'ଣ ନା ରେଲୱେ କମ୍ପାନୀ ଇନକର୍ପୋରେଟ୍ ଆକ୍ଟ ଅଫ୍ ପାର୍ଲାମେଣ୍ଟ ଆସିବ ନାହିଁ କମ୍ପାନୀ ରେଜିଷ୍ଟର୍ଡ ଅଣ୍ଡର ଦି ଆକ୍ଟ କମ୍ପାନୀ ରେଜିଷ୍ଟର୍ଡ ଅଣ୍ଡର ଦ ପ୍ରିଭିୟସ୍ କମ୍ପାନୀ ଲ ବଟ୍ ନଟ୍ ଏ କମ୍ପାନୀ ହୁଜ୍ ଅଫିସ୍ ଅଛି ବର୍ମା ଏଡେନ୍ ଅର୍ ପାକିସ୍ତାନ ଏସବୁ ଗୁଡ଼ା ଆସିବେ ନାହିଁ କିଏ ଆସିବେନି ସୋସାଇଟି କୋଅପରେଟିଭ୍ ସୋସାଇଟି ଆସୋସିଏସନ୍ସ ଅଲଗା ଅଲଗା LLP ଏଗୁଡ଼ା ସବୁ ଆସିବେ ନାହିଁ ଓକେ ସରି ଏଗୁଡ଼ା ଆସିବେ LLP ଆସିବେ ସୋସାଇଟି କୋଅପରେଟିଭ୍ ସୋସାଇଟି ଆସୋସିଏସନ୍ ଏଗୁଡ଼ା ଆସିବେ ବଟ୍ ଏମାନେ ଆସିବେ ନାହିଁ According to 376, foreign company will incorporate outside India but carrying on business in India can be wound up as unregistered company. It is to carry business in India. Here is an example है foreign incorporation is but India से तुम office ये करी register करछो तो सेठू करना तुम्हारा winding up होगा जल्दी if you are unable to pay your debts winding up होगा where official liquidators under Companies Act 359 provides for the appointment of official liquidators for the winding up of companies by the tribunal. Provides the central government can appoint official liquidator, joint liquidator, deputy or assistant official liquidator in order to discharge the functions of official liquidator. 360 concrete official liquidator will be a person of such duty exercise or power prescribed by the central government, conduct inquiries, investigation, directed by tribunals or the central government. एवरा एक्स्ट्रा इनसर एरा तुम्हारा सिलेबस सेक्शन नहीं इंक्लूड करते ही पढ़ी ना न पढ़ले चलो पावर ऑफ कोर्ट एटा हमर अछि कोन अकॉर्डिंग टू 273 ट्राइब्यूनल कैन पास द फॉलोइंग ऑर्डर कोन डिसमिस द पिटिशन विथ और विदाउट कॉस्ट तमे वाइंडिंग अप पे फाइल करछ सत पर तो डिसमिस कर पे ना ट्राइब्यूनल सब मुझे एक्सेप्ट करिवो नॉट नेसेसरीली interim order ଦେଇପାରିବେ appointment for provisional liquidator till the order of winding up is made तमने winding up हेबा जाई कंपनी तमे पिटिशन फाइल करियो तम ट्राइब्यूनल का डे 1 नु तम कहै तो हां वाइंडिंग अप कर दो कंपनी सैटिस्फाई हो ना वाइंडिंग अप करिया रीजन अछि तो सही रीजन मझे करना एक प्रोविजनल लिक्विडेटर ट्राइब्यूनल अपॉइंट कर परियो जेबे वाइंडिंग अप करिया ऑर्डर दबा सबे ऑफिशियल लिक्विडेटर अपॉइंट करियो बुझले ऑर्डर ऑफ वाइंडिंग अप पेंडिंग आइदर विथ और विदाउट कॉस्ट और एनी अदर ऑर्डर जहाँ भी इच्छा टाइम कर पारे टाइमलाइन है 90 days from date of petition is presented. According to section 274, when a petition for winding up is made, tribunal is satisfied if the case can order complaint to file its objection within statement of affairs in 30 days. ଯାହାର ୱାଇଣ୍ଡିଂ ଅପ୍ ହେଉଛି ତାକୁ ତ ଶୁଣିବ ନା ଯଦି ଜଣେ ପିଟିସନ୍ ଆସି ଫାଇଲ୍ କରୁଛି ତମେ କ'ଣ ସାଙ୍ଗେ
Battery charged
ସାଙ୍ଗେ
80%.
ଓକେ then also tribunal can also direct the petitioner to deposit security cost for the as the precondition for the issuance of direction to the company. ଜଣେ ଯଦି ଫ୍ରିଭଲସ୍ ଆସିକି ପିଟିସନ୍ ଫାଇଲ୍ କରୁଛି ମାନେ କିଛି କାମ ନାହିଁ ତ ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ସିକ୍ୟୁରିଟି ରଖିବେ ଯଦି କମ୍ପାନୀର ଟାଇମ୍ ୱେଷ୍ଟ ହେବ କମ୍ପାନୀକୁ ସେଇ ଇଏଟା ଦିଆଯିବ କଷ୍ଟଟା ଦିଆଯିବ 282 further provides tribunal can after considering the report of the liquidator fix a time limit within which the proceedings of winding up will be completed and the company will be dissolved. However, it can revise the time limit if not advantageous economically to continue the proceeding. Tribunal पर wide power अच्छी 285 कहला after the order of winding up a company has been passed by the tribunal it will also settle list of contributories rectify the register of members required and apply for the discharge of assets of the company also differentiate between contributories in their own rights and those who are representatives liable the debts or others while settling the list tribunal must also include every person who is or has been a member person liable to contribute amount sufficient for payments of debt liability assets of the company upon satisfying such conditions. On condition person will not be liable to contribute if he ceases to be a member not be liable if any debt liability company which is contracted after ceases to be a member not liable present members are not liable to satisfy required contribute एमती सब केस ताको liable करी हबनी it is the difference between winding up and dissolution. Dissolution means that something ceases to exist. Dissolution of a company means that its existence has come to an end. Section 302 of the Act deals with the dissolution of a company by the tribunal. Provides that when the company and its affairs have been wound up completely, company liquidator can apply to the tribunal for the dissolution of the company. Tribunal if satisfied can order for dissolution of the company. ମାନେ ୱାଇଣ୍ଡିଂ ଅପ୍ ପ୍ରୋସେସ୍ରେ ତୁମେ କମ୍ପାନୀର ସବୁ ଜିନିଷ ବିକ୍ରି କରିକି ସବୁ କରିକି ତୁମେ କ୍ରେଡ଼ିଟର୍ସମାନଙ୍କୁ ଅଲଗା ତାଙ୍କର ମେମ୍ବର୍ସମାନଙ୍କୁ ଯାହାକୁ ଯାହା ଟଙ୍କା ଦେବାର ଅଛି ୟୁ ଗେଭ୍ ସମସ୍ତଙ୍କୁ ପାର୍ଟ ଦେଇଦେଲ ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଟାଇମ୍ ହେଉଛି when everything is ended there is nothing to be done see official liquidator apply करवे ट्राइब्यूनल को तो ये order for the dissolution that means effectively ଗୋଟେ फांसी दिया ହେଉଛି effectively killing the company. However, winding up and dissolution are not same but different terms and different meanings. Winding up does not mean that the company has dissolved. It only paves the way for dissolution of a company, which further means that the company has ceased to exist. Difference between count. पढ़िदेବ ଏଇଟା ଟିକେ ଟିକେ ଅଛି ପ୍ରୋଭିଜନ୍ସ ମୋଡ୍ ଅଫ୍ ୱାଇଣ୍ଡିଂ ଅପ୍ କେସ୍ ଲ ଲ୍ୟାଣ୍ଡମାର୍କ ଅଛି ପଢ଼ିବ Voluntary winding up like key liquidator. In voluntary winding up, liquidator is an individual appointed by the shareholders, members of a company to oversee the winding up process and manage the affairs of the company during the period of its dissolution. Main purpose of liquidator to ensure the orderly and efficient realization of the company assets, settlement of its liabilities, fair distribution of any remaining funds to shareholders and members. प्रथमे creditors को जितनी टंका दबार अच्छी दे दो तांकर whatever the company owes सेयर होल्डर्स का फिक्स न था सेयर होल्डर को शेष को जाना पड़ो जी बढ़ला क्रेडिट्स को देकी जी बढ़ला सेयर होल्डर से पाइबे मे बी इफ यू आर होल्डिंग 10% ऑन कंपनी मे बी यू विल गेट 10% मे बी यू विल गेट मोर दैन 10% डिपेंड्स ओके कंपनी आसेट फेस बहुत थी बिक्री करके अधिक सरप्लस है से तुमको मिल पूरा नहीं तुम क्वालिफिकेशन ड्यूटीज भी एमती नहीं लाइबिलिटी है पास्ट पेमेंट्स एंड प्रेफरेंशियल हाँ liability of past members and preferential payments in the context of company law involves understanding the responsibility of former members of the company in order to certain creditors paid during winding the insolvency of the company. That means ଏହା କହୁଛି ଯେ ଯଦି you are a past member of the company, now you are no longer a member of the company, but ତମର liability କ'ଣ ଆସିବ? ତମେ at point ଗୋଟେ କମ୍ପାନୀର ମେମ୍ବର ଥିଲ, କମ୍ପାନୀ ଯଦି ଆଜିକି ୱାଇଣ୍ଡିଙ୍ଗ ଅଫ୍ ହେଉଛି, ତମେ କମ୍ପାନୀ କିଛି ମେ ବି ଏପଟ ସେପଟ କରିକି ଯାଇଛ, ସେଇଥିପାଇଁ ୱାଇଣ୍ଡିଙ୍ଗ ଅଫ୍ ହେଉଛି, ମେ ବି ସବୁ କେସ୍ ମେ ବି ଯଦି ଏପଟ ସେପଟ କରିକି ଯାଇଛ, ଏଥିପାଇଁ କମ୍ପାନୀ ୱାଇଣ୍ଡିଙ୍ଗ ଅଫ୍ ହେଉଛି। ସେ କହୁଛି ଲାଇବିଲିଟି ଅଫ୍ ଏ ପାଷ୍ଟ ମେମ୍ବର ଅଫ୍ ଏ କମ୍ପାନୀ generally enjoy limited liability, which means their liability is limited to the amount unpaid, if any, on their shares. Limited liability protects the personal assets of the members of the company's debts and liabilities. Liability of unpaid shares. Past members may be held liable for unpaid shares if they are members at the time when the shares are issued but didn't fully pay for those shares. Shares को इश्यू कराई थी, but से शेयर में टंका कंपनी को दे दी, unpaid shares वाला. In such cases, they remain liable for the unpaid amount even after they cease to be members. Okay. In case of wrongful trading or fraudulent conduct, former members who are directors or officers of the company during the period of wrongdoing may be held personally liable for the company action. जहाँ तुम कहली, तुम्हें जो कंपनी मेंबर थिल, डायरेक्टर थिल, जहाँ भी थिल, तुम अंडर द कंपनी चली थिला, तुम्हें किछटा भूलभाल करी थिला, बर्तमान से जो कंपनी आज वाइंडिंग अप होची, डिजल्व हाँको आसी, तो तुमको से लाइबल तो करा ना, तुम्हें एमती केमती आज कि तुम कंपनी संगे किसी एपट सेपट कर पड़ेब, काली कि तुम किसी रेस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी रही, हाउ दैट कैन हैपन. ओके, इट इज अ काइंड ऑफ ट्रस्टी रिलेशनशिप. ट्रस्ट और ट्रस्टी रिलेशनशिपटा से थे, ट्रस्टी किसी एपट सेपट कर पढ़ाती स्टिल लाइबल कर पार. ओके, व्हाट इज क्रेडिटर्स वॉलंटरी वाइंडिंग अप? Company is insolvent in this type when not pay debts. It was initiated by the shareholders of the company. However, it is only used to order to address insolvency issues. Process members votes the winding up of a company. Meeting of a creditor is held where the process of liquidation is discussed. Liquidators appointed. Liquidators' role is to regulate the assets of the company, settle the debts and creditors. Company formally dissolved after settle debts of creditors where possible, distribute remaining assets of the shareholders. Creditors ମାନେ ନିଜେ ନିଜେ ତାଙ୍କ ଭିତରେ ବହୁତ ବଢ଼ିଆ କ'ଣ କୋର୍ଟକୁ ନ ଯାଇକି ଡିସ୍ପ୍ୟୁଟ୍ ନ କରିକି ସେମାନେ କରିଦେଉଛନ୍ତି. This is what creditors voluntary winding up is. Okay, so with this now your company law is finished. I have already given the notes, access tab notes. Then if you have any doubt you can approach.